how many times does that student have to walk in and say, I can't pay my bill?
Right. Like how many times are we going to make them repeat it before we can like get together?
Correct. And that's tough to even say once. We have significant longevity on this campus, and we do hire good people. And when we hire good people, they tend to stay. We're almost 50% first generation, open enrollment by access and mission. That's who we are. It's what we do. It's who we serve. First generation across the board. So many of our families and students are trying this thing for the first time. We are and have been growing. We've grown over the last 10 years in all buckets. By that, I mean all populations, new undergrad, traditional freshmen, transfer, graduate, serving online, our international population has all grown over the last 10 years.
Hello, humans. You're here for the Vine Down. I'm Emily Smith, your host, and I'm here with Kevin Halle, who is the Vice President for Enrollment at Wayne State College. Kevin, thanks so much for being here with us.
Thank you very much, Emily. I really appreciate this. This will be fun.
Yeah, it will be fun. I like that energy coming into the show. Kevin, one of the things that I'm thinking about a lot this time of year and sort of this theme of our show, which is around like, what do students actually need and sort of where we are in the season of enrollment. Where we are in the season of enrollment is the time where people switch jobs. I'm seeing a lot of VPs who are leaving the profession. I'm assuming that this is the time of year that folks are going to be seeing some promotions and seeing some job changes. I sort of have been fielding a flurry of outreach from folks who are like, well, what's life like on the corporate side? Is there a future for me over here? And I'm curious if you can talk a little bit about your sort of journey from individual contributor to leader, and particularly around like the skills that you had to bring on and sharpen up when you made a change from being a recruiter to being, a manager of people and process in the office.
Yeah, well, that's such a great question, and it causes me to reflect, and that's why I love it. Is a look back, which you don't often have a lot of time to do, and so it is nice to look back and think. It is going quickly too. This work. Is, I think the pace is just enough that keeps us, I think, young, and it goes fast. So I finished my undergrad and had really great experiences as a student and gotten involved in enrollment as a campus tour guide and volunteered in some leadership capacities as well in those organizations. And I just got bit. I was it was over. I was like, I love this opportunity. I love the storytelling aspect. I loved the opportunity to connect one-on-one. I loved sharing my personal experiences with visiting families. I liked the influence. I liked all of that. And it seemed to just wrap together. And so I started asking questions like, is this a career path? Like, is this something that can actually be pursued? Is this a job? Is this an opportunity? And I quickly got the answer from some really wonderful mentors to me at that time that said yes.
I'm curious, Kevin, if you can share with me like one moment from early in your career that you still think about in terms of like how you think about students today, whether it was like a tough lesson you learned or something that confirmed your assumptions about students. You have this long arc, at one institution. You've seen a lot change, but you've seen a lot stay the same. And I'm curious, like, if you can talk about one moment early career that still shapes that sort of mindset and your mental models around students.
It was probably earlier on. I would suppose at seeing a full circle moment. And what I mean by that is that student that had visited campus and you talked with his or her family and visited with them at length. And then you went to their high school and you saw them there, and you saw the excitement around higher education, and then that personal share between you and that student to say, I see myself in them a lot. I see that opportunity. The students really, really excited about higher ed and then specifically our campus. and then you see them again, you see them make that decision, you see them enroll, and you see things start to change for that student. Then they're here, you see them get connected with our office, then you just that full circle. The 4 years blow by, and then you see them graduate, and the sky's the limit after that.
The value that you see in recruiting the student, getting to know the student, and seeing the full cycle moment with one student all the way through graduation, super rewarding. But like over the last 20 years that you've been in the work, funnel sizes have ratcheted up quite a lot. Where like early in your career, you could kind of keep your whole caseload of students in your head to get to know them, have relationships with them. And over time, like everybody has ratcheted up to a much bigger funnel size. How do you square in your mind the difference between like the student that you might get to know and that full circle moment to now that you're sort of like pulling back to have to deal with the students in aggregate because the funnels are a lot bigger? What changes to behavior have you had to direct your team to make because of that ratcheting up of your funnel volume?
Yeah, that's some really intentional work. I think that is not losing sight of our ability to do the granular outreach, the specific one-on-one, to keep that at the core to the scale and size that we can, but also leveraging tools that can help us on a larger scale, reach a broader audience, nurture a broader audience. The CRM factor nowadays certainly affords us that, and to let it do its work, but to still be able to focus on Johnny's individual decision and needs along the way. To let the tools be the tools, but to have us be that one-on-one person as much as possible. And yeah, we can't sit on the phone all night. We can't meet at Starbucks every single day of the week. But we can. But there are times and periods in the recruitment cycle that does allow for that. It does allow for us to scale things as much as we can to the families and students of whom we serve. But knowing that there are tools in place that are going to do some of the work, especially the advent of obviously all these crazy AI opportunities and wonderful additions to our technology that can work when we're not working, can do some of that cultivating of interest and nurturing. That's all important. And that's probably the bigger piece or broader piece, the tools to let them take care of that broader perspective of a funnel that's grown a lot, to carry that conversation. But when it comes to the hand raiser, to the family that shows up, the student that calls, texts, reaches out and says, I want to know more. I need this or that information, that we make it as still one-on-one and as personal as much as possible.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, like, what chapter of enrollment are you in at Wayne State? Are you like sort of stemming the tide of dwindling enrollment at a small college, or are you sort of on a successful high at the moment? And the reason I ask is because I want to sort of scale your thinking and mental models into like not only recruitment but retention as well. And I'm curious if you would sort of like call the chapter that you're in as a frame for the audience to understand what what front you're fighting on right now.
Sure. We are and have been growing. We've grown over the last 10 years in all buckets. And by that, I mean all populations, new undergrad, traditional freshman, transfer, graduate, serving online, our international population has all grown over the last 10 years. And really that growth has allowed us to be where we are now, and that is that we maintain that growth. Our strategic plan has been built accordingly, and we continue to meet those goals, and even reaching into other service areas like dual credit, and other populations that we can serve uniquely, I think, at Wayne. So we're on this side of some substantial growth, but that it is not to keep growing. Um, it's certainly not grow, 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 but it is to let's maintain that growth. And again, that's dictated by a strategic plan. That's not because what someone said feels good. This has been scoped by our strategic institutional plan that has supported that, and campus continues to support that work too. So, but that hasn't always been the case. We've been smaller in the past. We have seen declines, but we're really some fantastic work on campus and really put ourselves in a great marketplace that I think our families see us as a completely very viable option for many reasons, academic program chief among them. So that is where we are currently, and the great work continues.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Tough question. Any changes that you're making in terms of the way you view international students recruitment right now?
Nothing in particular, nothing specific. Certainly, we're cautious. We are, doing everything that we need to do that is required of us. But we've not pivoted. We have not certainly deterred any of the processes or made any sweeping changes. As long as students remain interested and are meeting the requirements of their admission, we're able to proceed at this point. But definitely very challenging, and certainly know the decision. It first of all under what could be normal circumstances, which I'm not sure what that is anymore. What's normal? But under other circumstances, it's a ginormous decision. I have children. I cannot imagine sending them a world away to education. I don't think it's in me. Literally world away. Like, where would you be going? Why are you doing that? But people all over the globe see the U.S. as just an opportunity for their student to thrive and learn and do it in a country different from their own. And I hope things work out in the end. I'm optimistic. We're here to support them, and we'll just keep our eye on that, on the student.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Like, I get as a parent, the idea of sending your kid half a world away to education feels like a lot. Um, Halle children, beware. Your father will not let you out of his sights. But like, okay, I think that must change the calculus though, if you're thinking about potentially if you're a family, an international family, and you don't live in the US, and that felt like a tough reach despite the sort of cachet of higher education in the US. Are you hearing from your international families now that that decision is harder because those students might not be well supported, or the perception is that those students might be supported? Are you observing any change with the international students and their families in the behavior? Like, did any of them want to come back to campus earlier? Are you seeing any additional trepidation or fear when you're talking with those families now?
Nothing significant and or substantial to talk about there. The one thing that am seeing is some students electing to go maybe their fall term online, and even that's not necessarily out of fear or anything like that. It is instead maybe they've been their visa was denied, or the wait time is excessive for them to sit for a visa appointment. So it's maybe a fall term online, come on campus in January. We are starting to have that interest a little more than what we have in the last few years.
Okay, so like I said, sort of shared with you, I want to take you into sort of retention land, because any good enrollment manager is thinking about enrollment holistically, not just students in the front door. Is retention part of your remit in your job, or do you share that across other groups? I know retention is everybody, but do you view enrollment management as like not only sort of first time recruitment, but also retention metrics as well?
A little bit, yes. I don't have direct oversight in my role, but however, absolutely, part of those conversations, the part of the leadership team that discusses those initiatives, those efforts, how we keep the student at the center, in what ways will we support them and their families, and in all ways, whether it be financial, personal, social, or otherwise. And so That's definitely something that I'm aware of, certainly, and intimately involved. And we discuss, just as we do new student enrollment and recruitment initiatives. Of course, it is full scale, recruitment, retention, and graduation. It's a that full cycle.
Do you think your institution does something unique or special to help with retention that feels, whether it's collaborative or sort of cross department? Is there sort of a secret sauce to Wayne State's retention that feels like a really successful ritual that you as an institution will keep doing?
I think what we do really well, and the secret, I think, but maybe not a secret, it's our people and our scale. I've said this for a very long time. Our scale, our size, specifically, allows me as one professional in residence life or advising or activities or whatever department. I likely know Emily. I am I not do not know her. I likely know her. So I'm going to either call her, I'm going to send an email, I'm going to run into her on campus, I'm going to share a meeting space with her. I might even just walk over to her office and say, "Do you have a few moments? I'd like to talk to you about student." And I think our scale, our size, our ability to do that um, happens and is great. It is an opportunity for us to talk holistically and wrap a student around in support and to do that together. Um, Not to say there are no silos, none whatsoever, um, and then it's completely seamless and everyone is all there. That would be funny talk, but I think by and large, there is that ability. We know each other. We see each other on campus. I'm I'm in residence life. You're in activities or academic advising. We both know we know both know student because of our interactions, and we want to work hard to get that student across the finish line. We want to see them enrolled in the next term. They were doing really well, and then life happened. And what can we do together? What do you know? What do I know that we can do together to support the student? Um, it What can we do to engage the student if the student might be a little fearful of, yeah, I'm in this life situation, but I haven't told anybody or I haven't talked to anybody. Yeah, so we're sitting, maybe sit a little dormant, like, uh-oh, we have to go talk to the student. Who wants to do that? But it's that outreach. It's the drive to say, let's find out. Life might be happening here, and let's find out what's going on. So I think minimal silos on a smaller campus, I think is maybe the secret piece here. Um, we'd have to work at that being the opposite.
Ah, like that's so much the fabric of the culture, but like that's very much giving private college. That's not giving like regional public, like that mindset and that culture.
I would agree. I would agree. So I don't think I shared yet, but we're almost 50% first generation open enrollment by access and mission. That's who we are. It's what we do. It's who we serve. First generation across the board. So many of our families and students are trying this thing for the first time. They want to explore what's out there. They want to become experts in a field of their choice. They want to pursue that passion. It might be the other things I'm not sure of. I don't know how to necessarily advocate for myself in this way, or I'm a little fearful of reaching out to Dr. Professor to talk about that grade. I'm a little fearful of telling my advisor I might want to drop out of that class, because I don't know what that conversation feels like. I don't know what it looks like. Is there a no, you have to stick with it, or a yes, let's process that withdrawal today? It's that unknown that I think our students aren't necessarily familiar with and comfortable with, but it's hopefully our people and our approach that smooths that out and pays that way. So we'd have to work hard to be a place that's rigid and nuanced with signatures and processes, and they exist here. They exist here. I'm not make this isn't make believe land, but I think where we've gotten better is saying what is absolutely necessary and when for the good of the student.
For sure. I mean, you're identifying like a lot of scary friction on behalf of the student to say, like, what can we do to reduce that to get to the best possible outcome? And I think that mindset of like that the things that most institutions are good at are the things that feel really obvious to them. And the thing that I think you're telling us that feels really obvious to the ways in which you operate as like a whole staff at Wayne State College is really around sort of like the doing the right thing and doing the next right thing by the student. And as you say, you have to really work hard for that to be different. What's been like the hardest silo to break when you're trying to align all those things across enrollment, advising, sort of student support? What do you think has been a hard silo to break there?
It might it might just be that our that question that we might ask ourselves, is that me? Is that me? Like, do I do that?
Oh, like, am I bringing that to the party here? Yeah. Okay. Like, look in the mirror first kind of deal?
Right. Yeah. Like, well, I'm maybe aware of life happening to the student, and but I just don't know. And it's not that's not me. That's not my job. I don't care. It's not that at all. I think it's just, I don't know if that's me. Yeah. I'm probably not going to maybe do anything with that because I don't know if that's me. And so, uh, but I think there's still an opportunity and people pursue it. Are those channels that I already talked about? Like, it's not me, but I should probably reach out to their advisor, or I'm going to go talk to someone that I just know that they can confide in. Or there's the systematic stuff that we've got set up, an early alert program, an opportunity. Emily's been in class for the last 6 weeks, and week 7 and 8, she's not. And so we have that early alert support system set up through our advising center. That support system network happens to know. Let's reach out. Let's find out and see what happened in the last couple of weeks with Emily not being present in class. So, but it might just be that just general hesitancy of, yeah, I'm not quite sure if my role is to do that. It's not an unwillingness. Those aren't thoughts I think our people have, but maybe it's someone else that'd be best suited to support the student.
Well, what's the time that like that alignment that you find naturally, which I think is excellent, between the departments changed a student's outcome? Like, tell us a story about that alignment creating a really good outcome for a student.
As of late, and what I mean by that is probably the last couple of years, is probably been financial. Has been, I'm not sure I can tackle this. I'm not sure I could make this next semester work. And through some education of whether it be a payment plan option that wasn't entertained before, if it was some extra aid that the student was eligible for, identified thereafter, or potential emergency funds to support a student in that last minute that they didn't think they thought they were going to cover maybe the term cost or the spring or the summer, whatever the semester might be, is that it's worked on the student's behalf to say, what can be done here? How can we help a little further? And we're not talking thousands and thousands of dollars. It might be the smallest amount, but the student came up short, and we were able to support in one way or another. But again, that's not just because the student walked in and said, I don't have enough, and it fell out of the sky. That was because it was a conversation among staff, and perhaps maybe the advisor reached out to our aid director or otherwise, that there's that understanding of sometimes this can happen and how it is that we can support. And then back to a little bit of my point before is that what's necessary in this vein particular. How many times does a student have to tell their story? How many times does that student have to walk in and say, I can't pay my bill.
Right, like, how many times are we gonna make them repeat it before we can, like, get together? Yeah.
Correct. Correct. And that's it's and what again, what I said before was that's tough to even say once.
Yeah, for sure. Right, to, like, recognize that and then reduce friction. But, like, you're talking about this, like, tight-knittedness and you're again, like, you're giving private college, you're giving 1,000 students, but you're 4,600 students. Like, you're really not teeny tiny. And I'm curious, like, you have this such you have such a reputation for being tight-knit. You are telling us about this culture of tight-knittedness. How does that feeling scale without diluting, right? Because you're doing this at a bigger scale than some institutions can. Like, how are you operationalizing that belonging? How are you bringing frameworks to reducing that friction in a way that's real across that scale? Significant.
Yeah, that is some intentional focus on what we might call or be sort of coined special populations or niche programs. Um, we know athletics is a community all of its own, is a family, is a tight knit community that supports one another and has support wrapped around them. We know populations like our music program is also a community. Our marching band, a just a really big family. Um, we also have some niche community populations around healthcare. We have our HOP and our LOP, which is a rural law and health opportunities program. It's the cohort family based, like here it is, this group, we're all moving through med school, pre med school together. We also have a career scholars opportunity that is cohort based, accelerated years 1, 2, and 3 on campus. Year 4, we're going to move together in 2 key communities that are going to, and then that 4th year gives us working experience. But all while years 1, 2, and 3, we're talking soft skills, we're building positive abilities to network, connect with one another, connect with local business communities, elected officials, and then our advising model is all served by our freshman advisors. We have one first year advisors. Those opportunities, those niche programs, special populations are held close. We take care of those populations. And for anyone that doesn't fit in those particular categories, the network of support is still there. They still are assigned and have an advisor. They still have staff people. I shared at a breakfast luncheon not too long ago of employee recognition. I said, for the longest time, higher ed has always said faculty to student ratio. That's pretty much been a standard across higher ed. But not too long ago, we started including it in our system. Wayne State is a part of the Nebraska State College system, Wayne State, Chadron State, and Peru State colleges. And we started sharing that staff faculty student ratio because so many of our staff support students in ways that I don't even think we could quantify. That opportunity, you pass the office secretary constantly, and she asks how your day is doing, or your work study in that office, and you connect with that staff person. Our staff just do a wonderful job that aren't necessarily responsible for retention effort A or B, but it's their presence, it's their sure care and their demeanor of how's your day going? How'd that test go? How'd that paper turn out? So that's how I think you kind of break up the number, if you will, a little bit to say, how can we support our students and do it at scale within a smaller community? Because you're right, we're not tiny, but we're also not huge. And so we're on the bigger side of smaller colleges, is how I like to describe us. And then you break that up with great intention and some focused efforts, and try to support as many as we can in all the ways that we can.
Yeah, but this isn't like you're not getting here on the merits of being like sheerly Midwesty nice, right? Like this is happening because of this intentionality, and I'm curious, like, do you look for this when you hire people? Do you train on this? Like, what are you doing to create this intentionality? Because I refuse to believe that it's just like a thing we could ascribe to like nice Nebraska folks who would care to remember that that student had a test, right? Like that's a bridge too far for me. So I realize I'm like a sarcastic Yankee here asking you this question, but like what are you doing to train on this? Like how do we microwave this at other institutions?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, first of all, it is Nebraska nice.
Proving
I
me
will
wrong.
chalk that. I will chalk that up because we are just we are good people. We just are good people. With that said, we have significant longevity on this campus, and we do hire good people. And when we hire good people, they tend to stay. They tend to stay. We have many, many highly credentialed faculty who could literally be teaching anywhere on the globe. We have staff and others and working professionals who also could be working many, many places. Um, Upon that recognition brunch that I referenced, there was one staff member noted for her 45-year tenure. Um, just phenomenal of, of the longevity, many of whom are alums who have left and have found their way back. Many who started their working professional and career here and never left. And all while I think bought certainly in all in many regards to seeing themselves in students and realizing these are young humans after pursuit of opportunity, and that permeates. I think it after a while, it's culture. Have there been probably some that are not bought in? Yeah, but I don't think they work here anymore. And so um, it's it's those that go all in and say, I'm just here for the student. I really am. I'm here to do a job. I know my tasks, but I know I make a difference. And that's what I really share with campus too. Is like, I know some people go, oh, he's the recruitment guy. Like, I don't actually do anything for recruitment. So like, we all recruit, we all retain, we all support. And so they absolutely make a difference, from the flower beds to the residence hall rooms. Everyone makes an impact on a student, because just as quick and fast and steadfast as they make a decision to come here, I think same can be said for leaving. They can also pack up and leave just as fast. And so there's a reason why our students come back and decide to stick with us and graduate.
Well, you may be getting inbound requests for study abroad experiences to become Nebraska nice, Kevin. I can see it. You're going to need to run a mentorship program.
Nebraska nice. It's a thing here. It's my whole life. I've been here in the Midwest, and it's just, yeah, we're nice people.
Well, never underestimate the power of those basics, right? To like fully bring caring into the fabric of your community. I think that's an excellent reminder.
Agreed. Agreed. And I think about that at the end of the day. Again, here's all these young humans who are just after something that they want to be and are excited about. They want to be passionate and jazzed about, and they want to be that expert in education. They want to be that expert in IT. They want to be that future business owner. Our students are hard workers. They're hard workers. And in the classroom, outside the classroom, before school, after school, they're hard workers, and they just want to get it done. They're here, they're driven, they're focused, and we're here to keep that happening.
That's awesome. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for being with us here on the show. Humans out there, be nice. You're hearing it first here from Kevin. Be nice to each other, drink water, and we'll see you next time.